Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger, and this is going to be after Immortal number 2. As I mentioned in the first of these videos, that I think that the ending of the Immortal storyline, whatever pay-per-view that ends at, has to be a finite show, a show of finality. All storylines and feuds that are going on need to end at that show. And I think that the very next episode of Impact should start off with, you should be starting off brand new feuds, brand new storylines. And I'm going to be doing a series of videos just of some ideas I have for potential storylines and concepts to introduce after the Immortal storyline is over. You can also go back and check after Immortal number 1 to see my idea for a Hardy Boys versus Generation Me feud. I'll put the link in the description box if you want to check that out. So Volume 2 is going to cover an idea for championship matches and 2 potential feuds with Bully Ray, and just some thoughts on that character, of where I could see that character going after the Immortal storyline is finished. Alright, now the first one is an odd idea I came up with. Championship match generator. Now how this is gonna work is Dixie's back in control, and she's gonna say something to the effect of, you know, no longer, we're not gonna have champions ducking challengers in TNA anymore. As a matter of fact, on Impact there's going to be a title match, a championship match every 2 weeks. A title will be defended. Now, to ensure that there's no biases from me or whoever I may put in as my new director of authority, which again is what TNA used to call their general manager, the director of authority. She's gonna say that she's had some programmers make up a random generating computer program, and that the computer, when the program is activated, the computer will randomly select a championship, and that's the championship that will have to be defended. It will then randomly select a match type, and that will be the match that the title is defended in, and it will randomly select challengers. Because for some odd reason, TNA would like to do random gimmick matches on TV, but now you have an excuse for them. Okay? So for example, they hit the random generator, and you have Dixie there with the computer, and she just reads off what the results. So now of course in real life it would just be the bookers coming up with it, but you could do any match you want and it'll make sense as long as it involves a champion. And you do it every other week so that you always have a week to hype the match up. So for example, say we had it right now. So Thursday on Impact, Dixie Carter runs the random generating program on her computer, and you just have a shot of her in her office, and she announces what match the computer picked. So she hits the button first, and it says what title is going to be defended. So it randomly selects X Division title. It says, okay, 2 weeks we're going to have an X Division title match. Kazarian's going to be defending the X Division title since he's the X Division champion right now. So then now it's going to select us a match type, and the match will be a 2 out of 3 falls match. Again, your excuse is, hey, we didn't come up with it. That's what the computer picked. That's your story. The computer picked a 2 out of 3 falls match, and now the computer is going to randomly select his challenger. And she hits the button again, and it says his randomly selected challenger is Kurt Angle. So in 2 weeks on Impact, 2 out of 3 falls match, Kurt Angle versus Kazarian for the X Division title. And you use it to do matches. You just pick the match you want to do, any match. The only concept is you're limited because the match must involve a champion and a title. You might have to come up with, and you just have to come up with you just do the match. So any match you want to do. And then maybe the next one, so then in 2 weeks later they have that match, and Dixie brings out the generator again. What's going to be the next title match? So the next time it gets picked, Knockouts Championship, and the Knockouts champion right now is Madison Rain, right? And then the random match generator says it's gonna be Fatal 4-Way, and then it randomly picks her 3 challengers. So now you're gonna have a Knockouts title match, and basically it's just easy, cheap ploy you use to do title matches on television. You do them 1 week at a time, so you have time to hype the match and promote it a little bit. And you can just put together some matches that you normally wouldn't be able to do just because it wouldn't fit the storyline. Because, you know, right now, if you wanted to do Kurt Angle versus Kazarian in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the X Division title, it would make sense. Why would Kurt Angle be going after Kazarian in the X Division title right now? Kazarian's already in a storyline with Immortal, and Kurt Angle's in a feud with Jeff Jarrett. It wouldn't make sense, but your excuse is, hey, that's what the computer picked, so we can get away with it. Now that's just a simple idea. I think this one, I haven't thought it out too much, so I'm sure somebody's gonna see flaws in it that I'm not seeing. So feel free to throw that out to me and let me know where I'm messing up on that, and just your general thoughts on that as a concept. Next part I want to talk about is Brother Ray, Bully Ray. If you're gonna call him Bully Ray, actually, could you add like big to the beginning of his name? Big Bully Ray. I think that sounds better. If he's gonna be a bully, he could. I was thinking, you know, after he's done with this, whatever he's gonna do with Devon, I really don't see much room for nothing much to do with Devon. But I actually think this Bully Ray character has some legs. I think there's some stuff you could do with this character as sort of an undercard heel. Well, I would never put the guy in the main event, but it's good to have undercard storylines. And I think there's something good you could do with him and do some interesting stories in the undercard. Because I think, you know, wrestling needs you need a strong undercard, and I think he could be a good heel. He's already proven that he can still put on decent matches, and he can get the crowd to boo him. He's really good at getting the crowd to boo him, and he does good promos. So if he's gonna be this big bully, we need some people for him to bully. So anybody who's smaller than him or anyone who's different. He could bully Amazing Red. Red's smaller. Of course, he always run when Red's big brother shows up, so that might be a little weird one. He could bully Brian Kendrick just because Brian Kendrick was the weird kid. He could bully freaking anybody, any small guy, any foreign dude, just because they're foreigners. Just pick on anybody who's different. Now, 2 guys I want to talk about specifically that I like to see him do feuds with Bully Ray later on are Orlando Jordan and Robbie E. Now, I talked about my Robbie E idea when I did the re-gimmicking Robbie E video, but I just want to sort of touch on that a little bit more in this video. I kind of see this story with Bully Ray kind of trying to hit on Cookie, and she turns him down, and then he tries to get kind of rough with her, and Robbie, you know, he's kind of, you know, that's his teammate, so he's there to back her up, and then sort of like Bully Ray attacking Robbie E from behind, and then attacking Cookie too, sort of attacking them both. And I'm imagining this scene where he has attacked Robbie E from behind, and he handcuffs Robbie E to the ring, and he's beating Robbie down. And then he attacks Cookie too, and Robbie E's trying to stop him, but he can't because he's handcuffed to the ring, right? He can't move. And so he's sort of like just mocking Robbie E, and as he's, you know, just sort of like grabbing Cookie by her hair and shake her a couple times. And we have to do this one on pay-per-view because of the no male on female violence rule that Spike TV has. And then like he slams her through a table or something, and Robbie's there, he's screaming, he's trying to get at Bully Ray, and then Bully Ray just kicks him in the head one more time and leaves him there. And I just imagine the scene where like the paramedics are there, they stretch her Cookie out, and then they get Robbie uncuffed, and he, like, I see them getting in like the ambulance together, and he's worried about how she's doing, and she's like on a stretcher, she got a neck brace on. And then when you bring him back to do the feud, when you bring him back, all the Jersey shit's gone. No more skinny jeans and white belts and the pop collars and all that stuff. Just normal jeans and pants, normal clothes. And how I picture this in my head is Bully Ray is in some match with some jobber that he slaps around, bullies around, beats him up, and he's walking out of the crowd. He's talking shit because he's been like doing this for a couple of weeks since he attacked Cookie. Just a few weeks later, and then Robbie comes out from behind him. Robbie's silent. He just left this pissed off look on his face, and then he just starts beating the hell out of Robbie E. And I think if it's done right, the crowd will go nuts for it. Just beating the shit out of him. And eventually lead up to their match. I haven't fleshed out the details on this one yet, but I'm going to try to flesh out the details on this more, just the specifics. But suffice to say, we need to start rounding up some jobbers for Bully Ray to slap around. I was also thinking he might need a sidekick. You know, in all the TV shows, your bullies always had like a little wimpy sidekick with them. Like think of Bully Ray as Bulk. We need some skinny dude to be Skull. Just to be like, every time Brother Ray says something, he repeats it. Beats it like Brother was like, "Now I'm the biggest, baddest guy on the block." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, baddest on the block, yeah." Something like that. That might be a little stupid, but, most of the stuff I come up with is stupid. So, anyway. That's just one idea I want to toss out there to you. Feedback appreciated. Second, Eric Bishop always says controversy creates cash, but you got a good opportunity with a guy with some controversy, and that's Orlando Jordan. Of course, Bully Ray will try to bully Orlando Jordan. He's gay. Well, bisexual, but we're just going to go with gay for the intents and purposes of this video. And, I don't think it would be so bad to play that up, to do more with that. It's like right now TNA has Orlando Jordan as just cheap ripoff of Goldust. And there's so much more you could be doing with this character. You got a good opportunity of bringing in a different fan base. Because Orlando Jordan, he's a good wrestler. And I know some people, for whatever reason, like to bash Orlando Jordan, but he does not suck. I have yet to see one logical or intelligent argument of why Orlando Jordan's a bad wrestler made by the people who bash him. I would really like to see one of you, so any of these people who hate Orlando Jordan, to give me a well thought out discussion of why you feel he's a bad wrestler. I've watched the guy's matches. He doesn't botch moves. I think it's more that we only like X Division shit. Like, he don't move at 90 miles an hour and he's not flipping, flopping all over the ring, so people want to call him a bad wrestler when he's not. He just got a shitty gimmick. I would, just stop with all this fake ass Goldust ripoff shit. Talk about the fact that the man's bisexual and make that part of his gimmick. I've said before, I did my re-gimmicking video on Orlando Jordan. I'll put the link in the description box. You can watch that. I said in that video, his gimmick should be this babyface gimmick. It should be all about being yourself. His gimmick should be a message about not being afraid to be who you really are and not trying to hide who you are. It should be about be you. Yes, this is me. I'm bisexual. This is me. This is who Orlando Jordan is. But he doesn't have to overgo it with the stupid outfits and the lollipops and shit. That's just dumb. Nobody cares about that. It's you trying to be Goldust again, and Goldust is over. That was the early 90s when something like that was still considered controversial. That's not controversial anymore, though. The gay dude ain't controversial anymore. But we got the Fab fucking Five and Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and shit now. Nobody's, the gay dude shit doesn't work unless you want to do it in a different way. But gay dude in a positive way might work. How about this is me, this is who I am, I'm still a great wrestler, it doesn't make me a bad person, this is how I was born. And have the heel be the guy who's trying to shit on him for it. And I think Bully Ray could do that. Calling him queer, calling him a fairy, and just trying to bully him because he's different. But Orlando fights back. Orlando stands up for himself and fights back. I think that could work. And You know, I think if you did the storyline well and pushed it again in the undercard, I'm not saying put these guys at the top of the card. I'm not saying put a belt on any of them. I'm saying an undercard feud. It's gonna be just a babyface and a heel with a simple reason as to why they don't like each other and why they're fighting. And I really think that people could get into it. You could appeal to the LGBT community, like I mentioned in the other video, that may be getting into, you know, because then you're bringing politics into it, and in some ways you're bringing religion into it. That's gonna get, you know, you talk about emotional involvement. That's gonna bring emotional involvement. Every gay, lesbian, bisexual person who has ever been picked on for being gay, lesbian, or bisexual is gonna have emotional involvement in this storyline. They're gonna want to see Orlando Jordan win, and they will cheer him, and they will probably buy tickets to your shows and order your pay-per-views. It's about bringing in more fans. It shouldn't matter where those fans come from. And you know what? I need to move into another topic. So this is good. This moved me into another topic. So let's go ahead. Just let me just sidebar on this for a sec. You know, there's all this talk about trying to bring more people into wrestling, how to bring in new fans, and everybody always talks about MMA fans. How can we bring back the MMA fans who used to be wrestling fans, or get MMA fans to watch wrestling? And I did that video of where I talked to MMA fans, but personally I think the whole recruit MMA fans back into wrestling is stupid. I'm gonna tell you why. Because you're trying to get people into something that's already somewhat similar to what they already like. Why are we trying to push, trying to get wrestling to appeal to people who are fans of something that's somewhat similar to wrestling? Wrestling should be looking at people who are fans of things that are completely different from wrestling. I mean, it really, if there's one group wrestling companies should not be trying to appeal their product to, it's MMA fans. They should be the one group that said, no, fuck them. Let's talk to all these other people. Yeah, MMA is popular, but you know what else is blows MMA out of the water? Yeah, football still does. How come wrestling can't do something to try to appeal to football fans or baseball fans or fans of all these other shows on TV that get these monster numbers? You know, I saw a clip on YouTube from the Dutch Mantel shoot interview, and I have the clip and I want to put it in this video, but I think the video, if I do, then this video could be taken down because of copyright thing, so I'm not gonna put it on there. But I'll put a link to that video in this description, in the description box, where he talks about, like, he mentions, you know, look at shows like Real Housewives and Hoarders and Pawn Stars, and you know, these shows with like stupid concepts, but they pull in 5-6 million viewers a week. So I'm saying there's so many other groups out there that wrestling could be trying to appeal to, instead of saying, oh, well, let's try to appeal to MMA fans. No, I think pro wrestling needs to say, fuck MMA fans. There's 300 million people in America. Let's try, and a lot of them ain't MMA fans. MMA pay-per-views get, I mean, their Ultimate Fighter show on Spike TV gets, it doesn't get monster ratings. It gets about the same ratings as Impact does. I think sometimes it even gets lower ratings than Impact. And UFC pay-per-views get at the most 1 million buys. They're not hitting 2 million buys, but fucking Hoarders and Jersey Shore and Real Housewives, man, those shows are getting fucking 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 7 million viewers, I think, some weeks. There's so many other people that wrestling could be trying to appeal to than with this dumb notion is we have to appeal to MMA fans to bring the MMA fans to wrestling. No, wrestling needs to say fuck the MMA fans, let's appeal to somebody else. You know what? I mean, think about this. What are there more of in America? MMA fans or gay, lesbian, bisexual people? I'm saying Orlando Jordan as a babyface, doing this storyline, promoted, try to get it some press. Cause I remember not a couple months ago there was like this website that's geared towards gay people that did an interview with Orlando Jordan, and because of this new character, and then it's gotta die down. But you can get some buzz, get the LGBT community talking about this angle that they're portraying in wrestling, this progressive angle that's not portraying a wrestling company not portraying the gay guy as a heel, or saying the gay dude's evil, or just making him some stereotypical prick. Why does Orlando Jordan have to be a goddamn okay, I'm getting into an Orlando Jordan rant, but fuck it, I'm already started, let's keep going. Why the fuck does Orlando Jordan have to be a fucking stupid gay ripoff, coming out there in this stupid little Santa suit and squirting shit over himself and licking lollipops and making stupid sexual innuendos to Eric Young, when they could be doing something better? When this character could be, you have an opportunity with this character to do something that is legitimately revolutionary. Legit revolutionary. You could do something that hasn't been, for once, something that legitimately hasn't been done in wrestling. And you probably wouldn't get so many people bitching about it if the story did take off, and if the LGBT communities and the LGBT organizations saw this storyline and saw how good it was, and they told and they spread the word about it, and you had this new fan base that was coming in wanting to check out your show to see this character and spend money on his merchandise, just as an undercard character. Again, he ain't got to have no belts, he ain't got to be world champion, but you can. There's a subsection of the American population and the world population, really, because there's gay people all over the world. There's gay people in every country. You have a character that you could use properly and appeal to a new group of people that would then become fans of your show and your product. I'm over 20 minutes already. I'm at 22 minutes and 7 seconds as we are right now. So let me go ahead and find me a clip of a nice promo to put. I'm gonna put me in a JBL clip at the end of this video for you to watch, because I like JBL promos. I wish that dude was back as somebody's manager or a commentator or something. So look, let me wrap this up. This is after Immortal episode 2, which has also turned into a rant on hating MMA fans and stuff to do with Orlando Jordan. The stuff I talked about in the video, leave your comments, leave your thoughts. Yeah, leave your comments, leave your thoughts, tell me what you think. This is the Shadow Ranger. Have a nice day. Enjoy a classic JBL clip. Goodbye.
The excitement and the buzz around McMahon's $1 Million Mania has less to do with the generosity of Mr. McMahon and rather the mediocrity of what America has become. You see this quixotic view that the rich somehow should give their money to the poor because the poor are less fortunate. Perhaps their shoes were untied. Perhaps the sun was in their eyes. Perhaps their environment was bad. Or just perhaps, just maybe perhaps, you need to put a window into your soul and realize you didn't go to work and make something happen. You see, fairy tales aren't real. I got up. I went to work. I started my own company. I am now CEO of a company that bears my name. A company I own. A self-made millionaire. I'm not going to wait by a phone like some parasite, hoping some rich man hands me part of his money. You see, I'm JBL. I am America. And while you may think you want Cena and Triple H at the Night of Champions, what you really want, what you need so badly, is JBL. Because whether I am on first, whether I'm on last, whether I am against Howard Finkel, I am and will always be the main event. I'm a wrestling god. And rest assured, soon I will again be world champion.